Hello. Okay. I think I'm live. Am I live here? Okay. Okay, very odd. Okay. So I am supposed to have a guest in order to go live, and it shows that I've got somebody on. I don't know who it is. I can't see. Weird. I'm not sure how this works. This is an experiment for me, so I don't know. I'm trying to maybe minimize it to see who's on with me. Hello. I don't know who's on. If you can say hello, that would be great. If not, that's fine. Hello. Welcome to Helaman's Army. Thank you for joining me today. Hello, Judd and Jam. How are you? So today is the Pioneer Day, uh, July 24th. It's 2024 this year. Um, and we're going to celebrate Pioneer Day. I was hoping I'm not familiar with how this live thing works. This is actually the first live I've done. I just thought it would be really cool to have a live where people could just join in and just share family history stories. There's a link right there if you want to join. If not, that's okay. Um, so I don't even know if it works. I don't even know it works the way I want it to. But I do have some family history stories I would like to share if if uh, if that's the way it's going to go. I've got three watching, so apparently there's at least three of you there. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Um, and there's a link if anyone wants to join. Saying it again one more time. So, Pioneer Day, I want to talk about at least one of the pioneers in my family. Now, unfortunately, they don't let you go live. You can't share a screen. Maybe I can move. Maybe I can. You'll see my dirty desk if I turn if I turn it around. Maybe I can share a screen. But the the pioneer that I want to talk about today is my fourth great grandmother, Abigail Sprague. She is she's kind of a bit of a maybe the right word would be a hero of a pioneer. Um, she didn't do anything that got recorded in a lot of history books. She just was a very stalwart member of the church. And let me see if I can just pull up a picture and turn my camera around. Let me try this out. See if I can make it work. Ah, there we go. Okay, so there's Abigail Sprague. Now this is a little wonky here because I'm just using my phone camera to look at my computer monitor, which is weird for me. But that's Abigail Sprague. She is my fourth great grandmother, and she is a pioneer of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints. So I'd just like to share her story. Abigail Sprague, she was born in a little town called Sempronius, New York, and it's actually still there. That little town of Sempronius, New York. It's over by Syracuse, New York. It's a beautiful place, a beautiful area. Um, being over there by, I'm not used to using my phone like this either. We got five people on. Holy cow! I never expected five people to join. Hello, everybody. So I'm talking about Abigail Sprague. Is one of my family history. One of the people in my family history. Also, there's a link for those of you who just joined. There's a link if you want to jump on and share family history. I don't know if it works like that. I have no idea. I just figured we'd try it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But there's at least five people watching us or watching this, so very great. Abigail Sprague. Let's go back to Abigail Sprague, pioneer of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter Day Saints. She was born in 1812 in Sempronius Township in New York. Her family moved around a little bit, and they ended up in Indiana in What was it? Cottonwood Township? Nope, just Cotton Township, Indiana. Which is it's like a county. If you type it into Google, it shows up as a county. Um, and in Cotton Township, she married her husband, Hyle Bradford. His name was Jehiel Bradford, but everyone just called him Hyle Bradford. He is a direct descendant from the Governor Bradford of the Mayflower. So she married Hyle Bradford, and they started having it. they they started having a family. Um, and with Hyle Bradford, she had quite a few children. Let me get down to her children. I'll give you some information about her children. She had Mary Ann Bradford was her oldest, Rosal Bradford, Jesse Bradford, Sylvester Bradford, uh, Pleasant Bradford, and Tryphena Bradford. So she had those kids, her kids with seven children, seven children with Jehiel Bradford. Um, and while they were in Indiana, she lost one of them. Jesse Bradford passed away when he was an infant, and they buried him in a little cemetery outside of a town called, I just had it, not Mount Pleasant, Mount Pleasant, Mount Sterling, sorry, Mount Sterling, Indiana. There's a little cemetery. It's called the Cotton Cemetery, Cotton Cemetery in outside of Mount Sterling, and it's on private property. So you actually have to get permission to go there. But she lost her son as an infant and decided to go, and so they buried him there in Mount Pleasant, or sorry, Cotton Township outside of Mount Sterling. It was in uh, let's see, 1839. They joined the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter Day Saints. It was Abigail with her husband. So Abigail and Hyle joined the church. Her parents, um, and her parents were Hezekiah Sprague and Abigail Jeffers. They joined the church, as well as her brothers, Ithamar, Henry, and Gad, with their wives. And her sister, Statira, also joined the church with them. So they all joined about the same time. And they show that the church records show that Jehiel was baptized in 1841, but a letter that the letter that Abigail wrote to her sister said 1839. So take it with what it is. But so they joined the church, and then they moved to Nauvoo because they wanted to be close to the church. They bought a farm just south of Nauvoo, um, and they obviously started a farm, and then they actually bought a second farm, and were able to do pretty well. They were prospering pretty well. Um, Abigail got her patriarchal blessing from Hiram Smith, actually. So she's she's probably one of, I mean, there's quite a few that received their patriarchal blessing from Hiram Smith, and it is fairly short. It's a very short, like, little paragraph. Um, so there's some really cool things that happened to him in Nauvoo. So there's one instance when Abigail and her husband Hyle were taking their son Rosal um, to the physician, to a doctor, because he had a bad wrist. They were really kind of afraid that it was going to have to be amputated, because that was what they did back then. Um, so on the way, they ran into the prophet Joseph Smith, and he examined Rosal's wrist, and he just said to him, "Hey, you know what? Go home, and and I promise you that his wrist will be well and strong." Uh, and turned out that his wrist was just fine. He grew up to be uh, with a perfectly functioning wrist. Um, there was another time when Hiram Smith told her that she would gain a knowledge of God that would comfort her to her heart. And those blessings gave her the courage to carry on. And oh, we lost a lot of our people. That oh well, that's fine. Things happen, I guess. So with their children, Marianne was 13 at the time, Rosal 11, Granville was 7, Sylvester 5, and Pleasant was 16 months. Um, they When Joseph Smith was martyred, they actually went and saw his body as it lay in state in Nauvoo. So here's where the hard stuff kind of comes in for Abigail. Now, obviously, seeing the prophet after he'd been martyred was probably pretty rough, but things get harder for Abigail. So she lost her husband. So she was giving birth to her daughter Tryphena, to their youngest daughter at the time was Tryphena. She was born in, oh, it doesn't say for sure. She was born on the 30th of September 1845. So shortly after the martyrdom of Joseph Smith. she was giving birth to her daughter and was having some complications. So she asked her husband, "Hey, Hyle, will you go and get my sister-in-law to come help?" Um, and so he did. He went out and got one of her sister-in-laws and brought her back to help. And he was out putting away the horses, and he took a long time to get back into the house. And so they eventually went to find him, and they found him basically pulling himself along the ground trying to get back into the house. And he passed away a couple days later. So she gave birth and lost her husband within a couple of days of each other. Um, and to make matters worse, uh, a few days later, let me just double check the timeline on this one because this one's pretty rough. Um, nope, the same day, 30th of September, according to the family search. 30th of September, 1845, the same day she lost her son Granville. Um, so she gave birth to her daughter. She lost her husband. She lost her son, all in a very short amount of time. And I mean, like within a few days, her entire life had been flipped, turned upside down. So Heil and Granville are actually um, are buried at the Pioneer Cemetery there in Nauvoo, the old cemetery, not the new one, the old cemetery. Um, and then they there came a time when she had to move, right? Like, I mean, everyone was being chased out of Nauvoo, and so she had to get up and move, and she was now a single mother. She had a newborn baby. I mean, within, I mean, just a very newborn baby. Um, and she had she interesting thing about her though is that she was one who completed her temple endowments in the Nauvoo temple, the historical Nauvoo temple before it was um, taken down. She was also, interestingly enough, she was sealed to her spouse um, in the Nauvoo temple as well, and that'll come up later because she has a very interesting story. So Abigail gets sealed to her spouse in Nauvoo, gets her temple endowment in Nauvoo, and then they're getting chased out of Nauvoo. She sells her farm, and she was able to get a couple of wagons, and she was able to outfit them. She got let me make sure I get this correct. So she sold her two farms. This was right after harvest, so she had 2,000 bushels of corn that she sold. Um, she sold her home, her furnishings, everything that she had, and she outfitted a couple of wagons, livestock for two wagons. One of the wagons was really badly worn. She got a plow, some other farm implements, seeds, things like that. Basically, she got a bad deal. But with as much as Heil had worked, and he had saved up enough, and uh, he was prosperous enough that she was able to get what she did get. So now the single mother with six children, sorry, five children left, five, because she lost Jesse in Indiana, and she lost Granville there in Nauvoo. Um, so five children left. She packed them all up and she started across Iowa. And when she started across Iowa, she said to Brigham Young as she was leaving, she said, I don't think my wagon's going to make it. It's not it's in rough shape. And he said, you know what? Have faith, sister. You're going to make it. You'll be just fine. Um, so they traveled across Iowa, and the stories about traveling across Iowa in the mud, they're all out there. Abigail Sprague traveled across Iowa as a single mother with her five children. Um, Her brother Ithamar ended up in I forgot the name of the place. I'm gonna have to look it up real quick. He ended up in uh, the place in Iowa. And I think this is important because it's part of the Mormon pioneer story. He ended up in Mount Pisgah is where he ended up. So, hey, Chris, Family History with Chris. Hi, Chris. If you'd like to join, click on the link and try it out. I'd like to see someone try to join at least anyway. So, Abigail's brother Ithamar ended up in Mount Pisgah, Iowa, And in Mount Pisgah, Iowa, he lost his wife. His wife passed away, as well as his kids. All of his kids passed away in Mount Pisgah, Iowa, and he buried them all there. And they're buried there fairly close to the Mount Pisgah monument, from what I understand. I've not been there myself, but it is a place that I will go to eventually soon. So and then he met up with Abigail Sprague and their parents in winter quarters um, after he had after they yeah, after they passed away. He just went to winter quarters. Um, so Abigail and her parents got to winter quarters. It was really cold, and you know what? I served my mission in Nebraska, and quite frankly, it is wicked cold in the wintertime, and anyone who's been there in the wintertime can tell you, it is wicked cold. I left on my mission thinking from Idaho, being like, "I'm an Idaho boy, I can handle the cold." And then I get over there to Nebraska when over by winter quarters, and oh man, it chills you to the bone, and it was something I was not prepared for, not ready for. It was a major shock to my system. So it was very cold, and when they say it was cold in Nebraska at winter quarters, yep, I believe them 100%. It was freezing. Um, so in winter quarters, it was pretty rough. There were a lot of people who passed away in winter quarters, lots and lots. There's over 600 people who died in winter quarters. Um, and Abigail's mother died on January 22nd, 1847, in winter quarters. Um, and her name is listed. If you go to the winter quarters uh, monument, the memorial that they've got there, her name is listed on that memorial of the people who are buried in the cemetery. So Abigail was on her way. So she's got her five kids. She's got her dad. Her brother's there. He's not really traveling with them, but he's there, and she's there by herself, taking care of all this stuff. Now I'm gonna go back and tell a different story because it's really cool, and it actually comes in because she's really a big part of this. So back when they were in Nauvoo, there it was basically a war, right, between them and everyone around them. Maybe not everyone, but there was definitely a contingent of people that were trying to war with Nauvoo. And I think war is a correct word for it. So I'm going to tell you about a an old gun. It's now currently referred to as Old Sow, but this gun was used in the War of 1812. It was pulled across the plains from winter quarters to Salt Lake. So the way that they came up with this, that they got this gun, is it was in the War of 1812. The gun was used in the defense of America in the port of New Orleans, which is actually a really cool place. Took my family down to the Chalmette battlefield where that battle happened. It's really neat. Certainly worth going there. So this gun ended up being purchased and was used for a number of years, and then it was sold as scrap iron. Um, and then it was later purchased by James Lawson, who was a veteran blacksmith. So after the gun was purchased, it was shipped to Mount Pisgah, then to Nauvoo, Illinois. So after the anti-Mormon invasion, the gun was left out on the field. So a group of Mormon women dug a hole in the ground and just pushed that gun into the hole so they could keep it uh, preserved, so that it basically just didn't disappear on them. It was a way for them to hide it. Um, and so they buried that they buried that old gun. Sometime later, there were some pigs that came around and found that gun and like dug it up. So that's why it became known as Old Sow. Now that gun um, was taken from Nauvoo across the Mississippi River and into winter quarters by Major Howard Egan. The Missouri River was frozen over at the time, so they put a hole in the ice and lowered that cannon to the bottom of the Missouri River to keep it from falling into the hands of their enemies. So, what's up with this gun? So they pulled this gun out in the spring of 1847, and it was pulled across the plains by Abigail. She was on her way out, and they're like, "Hey, we got this gun. What are we going to do with it?" And they hitched it to her wagon. So she pulled this gun, Old Sow, all the way across the plains. Um, and her kids, her little boys would run alongside it and then jump on it and ride the thing as it went. Um, and they intended to use it against any hostile Indians if it was necessary, but it never had to be used. It was used to fire salutes for celebrations in Salt Lake City, and it was used actually as the first podium for when they got to Salt Lake. The very first the very first sermon that was given in Salt Lake was given off of Old Sal, off of that podium. So other really cool stories about her traveling across the plains is that one of her oxen had passed away, so she just hooked up her milk cow and just kept going. I mean, like she just didn't give up. She just had it. Um, and each morning she would milk her cow, and then the story goes that they would have breakfast, and then she would take whatever was left over of the milk and put it into her butter churn. But I have a hard time thinking that they're just dumping what's left over. I think she probably skimmed off the top of the cream, and then they had breakfast, used whatever cream they needed, and then dumped all the rest into the butter churn. And then she let that thing swing on her wagon. And so when they got to their stop for the day, they had fresh butter every night. Um, so when she and her family reached Immigration Canyon and they looked out into the valley, they the wagon, as you remember, she was really concerned about her wagon being as in bad shape as it was. When they reached Immigration Canyon, the wheels literally fell off of that thing. Um, the the wagon gave way, and it was an answer to her prayer from Brigham Young, that Brigham Young had said to her that you will make it to Zion. Don't worry about it. Have faith. And she did. She made it to Immigration Canyon and done. It was finished. Um, so October 1st, 1847, just 2 months behind the first company of pioneers, Abigail Sprague Bradford came into the Salt Lake Valley with her 5 children and her father. And they were the first of the Bradfords to arrive in Utah. So they lived in like an earthen dugout. They lived in just a dugout for a while. That first winter was really difficult. Um, and it says that they ate the root of the sego lily to help sustain them through winter. And in spring they planted crops only to be devoured by the black crickets, the hordes of crickets. They irrigated the land, they replanted, and finally were able to raise enough grain for bread. So um, she lived a very, very hard life. So there came a time when her oldest daughter was asked to be married by a man named um, Archibald Gardner. Now, Archibald, this was the beginning of Archibald's polygamy. He he Brigham Young went to Archibald and said, "Hey, you need to go find yourself another wife and you need to start practicing polygamy. You're very well off. You can take care of a lot of ladies, a lot of women." So he asked Marianne to marry him, and she said, "Yeah," because um, he was in the wagon train with him, and she knew him pretty well, and so she said, "Yeah, I think that'd be great." So they go to get married, and Brigham Young says, "Hey, well, why don't you marry your mom too? That way you can take care of both of their families." And so he did. So he married Abigail first, and then married Marianne. Um, Marianne had quite a few children. A couple of them died young, and Marianne died in 1862. Now, back to Abigail. Abigail's father passed away shortly after they got to um, Salt Lake. He passed away that winter, the winter that in 1847, and he is buried in the Salt Lake Cemetery. His monument, his headstone is pretty poor. It's pretty awful, and I would like to replace it actually. So I don't know if any descendants of Abigail Sprague are around, or I mean, I'm sure we're around, or of Hezekiah Sprague. If you're around, I'd like to replace it, and I'm not asking people to donate money to it. I just think it needs to be done, and so I'm just going to take care of it. But I don't know how to do it, and I don't know if I have to get permission from other people. I don't know, but his headstone needs to be taken care of. But Abigail Sprague lived quite a good life. She uh, she was the she was a second wife of Archibald Gardner. Archibald Gardner is pretty well known. There's Gardner Village down there in Utah. And if you go to Gardner Village, there's a table. I've never actually been to these tables, but apparently there's this restaurant with a table named after each one of his wives. And so one of them is the Abigail table. There's another one that's the Mary Ann table. I consider all of them, or those two, because those are my ancestors. But Abigail was a really great storyteller. She took delight in telling tales of witches, fairies, to the children. She would tell children's stories all the time. Uh, she suffered for a number of years with breast cancer, and she finally got operated on, and it stopped troubling her. Um, and after 9 years of her life, and after her kids moved out, she went and lived with Archibald Gardner's first wife. Um, they lived apparently fairly uh, uh, like apparently they were like very good friends. And the she wrote, Margaret Livingston was her name, so she wrote a letter to her sister, when like, because basically caught her sister up on all the happenings of her life. Um, and her sister named Electa, um, and she talked about all this stuff, and she talked about her relationship with Archibald wives, and she said they're like sisters to her. They're just her friends. But she passed away finally on the 16th of January in 1879 in her 66th year in West Jordan, Utah. She's buried in the Salt Lake Cemetery. She did not. She did have that go of breast cancer, but she did not pass away from breast cancer. She passed away because she had excessive fat around her heart, and that's why she passed away. Um, so apparently, she was a very nice, jolly old lady. Liked to get liked to be friendly, and she was very stalwart. She was very strong in the gospel. Um, another point that I forgot to talk about, I'd like to talk about, is when she was leaving Nauvoo, Hyles brothers. Now these are Bradfords. They're descendants of the Mayflower, Governor Bradford. They've got they're doing pretty well for themselves. They're not doing too bad. They came to her and they said, "Look, we really love you and your family, and our brother has passed away and he's buried here. We Please don't go. Please let us take care of you and your children." And then she said, "No, I got to go." And they said, "Okay, that's fine. Please let us keep your kids so that we can, and we'll take care of them. We'll give them anything. We'll make sure that they get everything that they need." And he said no. She said no. She actually said no. She said no because she was afraid that her children would well, she knew her children would grow up without the gospel. So she said no. She's bringing them with her. Um, she loved the gospel. She had a very strong, deep testimony. Um, and throughout all of her trials, throughout everything that happened to her, she never lost faith in the gospel. She lived its precepts. And Oh, Chris asked a question. Jeremiah Sprague is her father. No, it's sorry, Chris. I don't know, Chris. Will you try clicking on the link, the pinned? Um, there's a comment that's pinned with a link at the top. Will you try clicking on it? See if you can join. So her father is un momento, por favor. Names. I have issues with names. Hezekiah Sprague. Oh, it's in Chris's line. Yeah. So her father is Hezekiah Sprague, but she passed away um, in 1879. She's buried in the Salt Lake City Cemetery, and next to Archibald Gardner. Archibald Gardner has a very big headstone in the Salt Lake Cemetery, and he's got all of his wives, kind of, or most. I think most of his wives buried right there next to him. Um, so very very interesting lady, very strong in the gospel, very committed to the gospel, and that was that was my pioneer celebration, was to share a pioneering story. Um, I was hoping someone would try to click on the link and see if you could join me, but I don't know if that's possible now at this point. I have no idea. Um,
Well, that didn't work. I'm live. Are you? Is everyone still here? Okay. Now it just started over for some reason. So if you want to join, you're welcome to. You can just click the link. Just that pin. Oh, the pin isn't working for you. Weird. Let me Let me try it. Because I think this would be really interesting to actually have other people get on and talk about their family, their pioneering family, whether it's Mormon pioneer or whether you've just joined the church and are pioneers. That I think it would be really, really awesome. Let me see how I can do this. There's got to be a way to do this. To invite other people. It says go live together. Yes. And there should be a link in there, Chris. Maybe there's not. I don't know. Okay. Give me a second. I will. You know what? I actually have the. Sorry, this is the weird stuff that it's really. Okay. No link. I will. I'll just. I'll just. At least I can get Chris to join, hopefully. And then we can hear some awesome things about Chris's family. Is this still going? I hope it's still going because on my monitor screen, oh, it's still going. Good. Okay, so I sent Chris a text message, so hopefully he can join, and we can hear a family history story from Chris. But I will also try to share. Oh, he said, hold on. Hold on. Give Chris a second.
Board. Okay.
Okay, there's the link. So if anyone wants to try the link, you're welcome to add. Yo,
Hey,
hey, Chris. How are you doing, my man?
hey, pretty good. I've got you on my
Good.
computer and on my phone now, so this is kind of weird. So let me
It
get
is
out of
weird.
one. Yeah,
Okay. There's a delay. I've noticed there's a delay on the computer versus my phone.
yeah,
It's a
okay,
couple seconds, right?
yeah. Well, it's good now. I got off the computer, so
Okay, there we go. Well, I just posted the link again. I don't know if anyone can see it, but in the comments section.
yeah. Sorry, I forgot what I punched to get on, but it worked.
There you
So
go. There you go. Well, Chris, it's Pioneer Day. Do you have any
happy
pioneering
Pioneer
stories?
Day.
Yeah. Hopefully my story
Um,
about Abigail was exciting. I really like Abigail. She's probably one of my
well, yeah,
favorites.
I thought that was interesting. I caught you when you started talking about the gun and stuff, and
Oh, Old
thought that was
Sal.
really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So then
um,
you missed the part about her husband and her. She had her daughter, and then like while she was giving birth to her daughter, her husband got sick and passed away, and her son passed away the next day. So I mean, within like, yeah, like like crazy trials that lady went through. Um, so anyway,
yeah. So I've actually posted a few pioneer stories on my on my
you're
YouTube channel,
oh
Family History with Chris. So, but one I was thinking about, I don't know how much of a pioneer story this is, but
okay,
back in the days of Nauvoo, I had an ancestor who was helping ferry people across the river, and one night it got really cold and he had to get out of there because the mobs were coming.
right.
So he was there all night, and they found him frozen the next day. So
Whoa.
he didn't make
So
it, but
he did not leave his post. He's like, let's do this. Wow.
that's right. So I got another one. I think I
Okay.
so for the hatches, we
Yeah.
were actually out in winter quarters,
Is your son back
and
there trying to get on?
yeah,
Yeah.
apparently, sorry. but I think it was out in winter quarters.
Mhm.
You know, when the moms came and stuff, and they had their places, and he got everything ready to Jacob B. Hatch. This is him and his wife. He it was dark, and so he started shooting at the mob at the door, but apparently it was his wife. So he
Oh,
accidentally killed her, and
oh,
that was
ouch.
fun.
That's gotta weigh heavy on you, doesn't it?
Oh, I would think so. Yeah. So, but
Wow.
he made it to the Salt Lake Valley and lived to be like 103 or something like that. So it's pretty
Wow.
cool.
That's quite a long time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Well, I've
I
got
don't know
one of
what
my
kind of study.
ancestors. One of my ancestors. I don't remember which one he was or how to get to him on Family Search. But one of my ancestors actually played a trombone in the Nauvoo brass band. Um,
Oh, really?
yeah,
That's
I
cool.
think it was Robert Smithies, perhaps.
Okay.
Maybe it was James.
Nice.
I think it was James Smithies played the trombone in the Nauvoo brass band. Anyway,
Nice.
so
I did see, you know, like when you pull up Family Search, it gives you a whole bunch of stories and things
right,
like that. I did find out that I had an ancestor that was already in Salt Lake Valley, and he owned a barber shop, and so he started up a barbershop quartet
right,
and stuff. And I didn't hear a whole lot about it, but I was like, hey, that's cool. And that's where because I sing in barbershop right now. So,
yeah, yeah. That is
so
pretty
I
neat.
was nice.
It's like runs in the family.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, there you go. It's really neat
There it
when you
is.
can find similarities in your line and stuff. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Yes, that's great. I was thinking of a story, and then oh no, I was thinking of a story, and then the barbershop quartet. Like I totally was enamored with it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty fun. So, well,
Anyway,
cool.
oh, I remember what I was going to tell everyone. The four people that are listening, you and whoever else is listening. So there's um, currently right now, if you go onto Family Search, the Family Search website, there's actually a little thing at the very top um, about pioneers and see if you're related to a pioneer. So if you click on it, click on the Learn
Oh
More.
yeah, let's see.
Isn't that pretty neat? So there's Pioneer Trail, there's missionary ancestors, which is really neat, by the way, because I clicked on that one. Cemeteries is also pretty cool. Saints by the Sea, those are pioneers that traveled across on boats. And
nice.
Pioneer Children, Pioneer Child Memorial, which is everyone who passed away, all the children who passed away on the trail.
Mhm.
The Journey of Faith, the Female Pioneers, and Nauvoo, which is did your ancestors live in Nauvoo? So if you want to learn a little bit about your family history, it just kind of compiles everything for you into the pioneering. It pulls your pioneering ancestry right out there for you.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for it right now. So
So I
I've got my
so I click on the missionary, and this is actually really cool because I knew this already, but I click on the missionary ancestors, and I go to it, and my grandpa served his mission in Texas, and I'm like, hey, I'm in Texas.
hey,
But so
cool.
he served his mission in Dallas, Texas, and it'll give you information about their missionary service if you click on it.
Oh,
So
that's neat.
he served in the South Texas district, and then he was transferred to the North Texas district in 1932, and he went to Dallas to help with the state fair until November 13th, 1933. So
Nice.
so he was in the Dallas area for quite a while, and I'm like, well, hey, I live in the Dallas area, almost.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So
So
anyway, it's pretty neat.
um, in Family Search, I know there's a place called Activities.
Yeah. Yep.
Is that where you found it? Church Pioneers.
No, actually, it's the Family Search website. It's just you click on the Family Search website, and uh, it just goes to there's a thing right at the very beginning of the Family Search website on the homepage. You let it load
Or I'm
up.
going to speak right here.
Oh, hold on. You got to sign in.
See if you're
FamilySearch.org.
related to a pioneer. That's probably it, right?
Yeah, see if you're related to a pioneer. Yep, click on that. It's pretty neat.
Awesome.
There's some pretty neat things in there. So neat things you can learn.
Missionary ancestors. And hey, that's one I want to know.
Yeah, there you go.
Am I already in, though? Do I need to? Because,
And there's a drop down menu on those missionary ancestors. Once you get there, it gives you a screen of ancestor by ancestor, and you can click on the buttons to go left or right. Just under that,
oh, wow.
there's a little just under that to the bottom right. There's a little drop down menu. You can click on it because it'll show you 1 to 20, and you can show up to 5,000.
Oh,
It's
wow. Okay. So,
crazy.
yeah, so the first one that popped up is my great grandfather, which I knew. He died in 1987. Northern States Mission. So he was in Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa.
Wow.
So I you don't know these things
Yeah.
unless you look it up, right?
Well, it's pretty neat. So, and one thing I didn't know, right? Yeah, exactly. One thing I didn't know about my grandpa is that he was. It tells you if you click on the See Missionary, View Missionary. If you click on that,
Hmm.
um, it'll give you some information about it, about the service. Um, and my grandfather was set apart to be a missionary by James E. Talmage, which is pretty
Oh,
neat.
wow, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So here's another one. Served in 1916 to 1918 in the same mission, Northern States Mission. Ellen Worthington Davies, which let me see how I'm related to her. My great grandaunt.
Well, there you
Okay.
go.
Then I saw someone serve in the British Isles back in 1899 to 1901. That's cool.
Yeah, it's got all this neat information in there that is really interesting, and you don't not stuff you normally run across. So anyway, just throwing that out there. Oh, we're
Yeah.
only down to one viewer right now. Anyway,
Oh, just me. Everybody's like,
we're just
I don't
we're
want
just
to
hanging
listen to
out.
Chris.
I don't want to listen to this anymore. That's okay. It's
Yeah.
live, so I guess it'll be saved. Like from what I understand, it's just saved. This is the first live I've done. I've been
Oh,
kind of
well,
just messing with them.
I've been trying to get
Wondering.
on, and then I was having a hard time clicking on and stuff. So I'm glad I got on here.
Well, there you
Thomas E.
go.
Riggs.
Okay, tell us about
So
Thomas. Tell us about
Thomas
Thomas
E.
E. Riggs.
Riggs. He's the one that started up Rick's College and things like that. So
Right.
just an overview. Served his mission in Las Vegas,
Oh, interesting.
1855 to 1856. He was 26.
Wow.
That's
So
cool.
I'm digging through some of these. So my great grandpa, he served from 1916 to 1918 in the Eastern States Mission. He was called at age 37.
Oh, Eastern States.
Yeah. Could
So
you?
what
But could you
years?
imagine being called at age 37? Be like, hey, you're gonna go serve a mission for 2 years, and you're like,
Yeah,
you come home and you're like, hey, honey, I gotta go. I'm leaving.
yeah. What years did he serve in the Eastern
Ni-
States?
1916 to 1918.
Oh, so that's 10 years prior. I have a uh, someone who was called at the age of 28, Richard Davies, to that same mission.
Huh.
So
Interesting. Interesting.
I was kind of
So
hoping that we could find some people who could have been like companions or something.
yeah. So Roswell Edmund Turner, he's my grandpa's father. So he's my great grandpa. My grandpa
Mhm.
being Clifford Turner. So there you go.
Nice.
So
Okay.
other pretty neat family history deal. I gotta find the right guy. Make sure I put the right name with the right person here because I don't want to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about.
British medicine.
But
So when did they start doing missions? So the
like
church was organized in
like
1830, but
I mean, very very quickly afterwards. So they started doing missions. It was, I want to say it was like it was the Quorum of the 12 that was initially called to go out on missions, because
oh, okay.
that was their purpose, right? So a
No.
lot of people didn't. So when Joseph Smith was martyred, a lot of people didn't know Brigham Young because he joined the church and then he spent the rest of his time doing missions. The same with John Taylor. He had
Uh-huh.
joined the church and then went out on missions after mission after mission. So
Yeah, I'm trying to find like people right at the beginning. So I think the closest I found was, they David Canlin went to the British mission, 1846 to 1847, called from Nauvoo.
yeah,
So
that's pretty neat.
yeah, he
Called out
was
an yeah.
26.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I think one of the cool things about my ancestors, there's one story that I think it's just kind of stuck with me for years. So one of my it's on my grandma's side. I think it was Edward Moroni Thurman. He was called to be the bishop in Grover, Wyoming, up in Star
Oh,
Valley area.
really?
Yeah. So
Mhm.
they call him to be the bishop, and then they like left him there. they they for,
Oh,
like
really?
they kind of, I don't know if they forgot about him or what, but he was the bishop for like 23 years. He was a bishop
Mhm.
forever.
Wow.
They're just like, yeah, you just you be the bishop. And when he when he came across the plains, he was a teenager. He was like 15 or 16 when he came across the plains. They took a boat to New Orleans and then rowed the boat, or took a steamboat up to winter quarters, and then came across that way. Um, and when he was like 17, 18, he kept riding his horse back over to winter quarters to help guide people back to Salt
Nice.
Lake. So anyway, interesting guy.
Yeah. So just going through this, I've noticed Thomas C. Ricks has gone on at least 3 missions,
Wow,
which is crazy.
that is awesome.
Yeah. One to the British Isles. Oh, no, that's the Las Vegas mission. Never mind. It seems to be going around in a circle. Oh, well, yeah, because there's only 14 out of 20.
Yeah,
Oh, wait. Early missionaries. Okay, so I've got one that did a Lamanite mission, September, October, 1830, maybe.
interesting.
I'm trying to click on something because that would be cool. How do you figure out who's done that?
I don't know.
Hey, check this out. So, if I have any questions about my family search history, I
Your
can.
name's at the bottom.
My name's at the bottom. You can call Chris Hatch, Ward Temple and Family History Consultant, and my phone number. Oh,
Oh, look at you,
I
dude. You're
did not know
special.
this.
Yeah, mine.
I did not know this.
Yeah, mine lists the people in my ward at the bottom. Questions family history consultants can help. Phone
That's
number,
that's pretty
email. You
cool.
can chat.
Mhm. So I'm going to have to start answering my phone, I guess.
Perhaps, especially if they're from, especially if they got the 575 area code on it. You'll be like, oh
Yeah,
man.
575, sure, you know. But
Yep.
when it's other people like 801 or even 208, I ignore those ones.
Because it's spam, most likely.
Pretty much. Yeah. There
I
was
don't know
one
that
today
person.
that was it was a 505 number, and I was like, I don't know. I know that's northern New Mexico. So I just asked, "This is Chris."
Yeah.
And then later they hung up. So, yeah, probably
Yeah.
spam.
Yeah. There's also the cemetery one. If you're on the Pioneer thing still, you can click
Oh
on
yeah, sure.
cemeteries, see where all your
Where?
ancestors are buried.
Let's see. I'm on my relatives mission. Uh, let's go back. Missionary ancestors. Cemeteries. Discover where your ancestors are buried. I have a couple buried out there. Um, is that Chimney Rock or what's out there in Nebraska?
Yeah, Chimney Rock. Yeah.
Chimney Rock. Okay, yeah, I have a couple
I
people
want to say
buried out there.
it's a state park now. So one of my
Oh yeah.
ancestors, well, she's not technically my ancestor. Her husband. Um, it's the story that I shared on my YouTube in the communities today, on the community tab.
Mhm.
Um, I'm descended from his second wife, but his first wife, joined the church with him. They came to Omaha and then jumped or winter quarters and then started the trek across. And she died somewhere along the way. And they buried her along the pathway. So she and without a headstone. So she's somewhere buried somewhere in the Omaha area.
I've got one in the Cosby Andrew, Missouri, United States, Bethel Cemetery.
Well, there you go.
Gideon Chenoweth. Okay. My fourth great granduncle. Kind of fun.
Yeah, that's
And how
pretty
do I
neat.
get out of it?
I don't know. It's a good question. I'm looking at the same thing. Press the back button. Click on the family search in the top or left corner. That'll get you there.
Um,
Anyway, so I just wanted to get on today and just share the story about Abigail Sprague, share her information, and hopefully get somebody else. I got you. I got a few little stories from you. That was awesome.
yeah, hopefully that was helpful for you.
I don't know.
I
I've
didn't want
never.
to take
This
over
is
and pick everybody
Chris.
off.
This is. Oh no, it's fine. This is. I got 3 thumbs up.
That's good.
So think I'm doing all right. I got 3 of those. I mean, it's like awesome. So
Nice. Hey, there's two
so I think
people on. Someone's here.
I think that was just me. I don't know.
It says it went up to 3 now. So,
Oh, it's up to 3. There we go. Well, I think
so
unless you have something else to talk about Pioneer Day, family history.
So you want to get me off, or I
No,
mean, like
no.
you
If
want
you,
me to get off?
I'll totally just sit here and chat with you. That's fine. I'll chat with any. I thought that I would just do a live and then see whoever would click on the link and I'll just chat with them. And
Yeah,
no one
as long
no
as
one clicked on the
the
link.
link is working. So I was trying. Of course, I'm here.
Well,
So
I don't. I guess because it was just really just an experiment, right? So I don't know.
right.
Um, so
So anybody else? Well, it's down to 2. So
yeah,
if there's anybody else, I think that would be really neat to talk to them too.
it would be. I think so too. But no one else is joining us. I don't know if you can have more than one person join. I've never tried. So I just thought I'd throw it out there and see what happened.
Yeah,
Just to
let's
see what
see.
happens.
Oh shoot! I turned my
And
camera around. That's
you
cool.
can't join it through your web browser either. It's got to be through your phone, which is frustrating. So
I know, right? It's like I was trying to figure it out on my computer, and I just couldn't do it.
no, you got to have the app apparently. So that's
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So, are you on your computer or are you on your phone?
yes. The video is coming
Cool.
from my phone. The video is coming
Uh,
from my phone, but I had my computer. I've got my computer right here, so I can look at family history stuff and talk about it. I was really because I really like bringing up information and letting people look at it while I look at it. because
Oh
it
yeah.
seems to be a lot more interactive that way. But unfortunately, I couldn't do that with this live thing. But I don't know. We'll see how the live thing goes. Zero. We're down to zero. I'll see how the live thing goes if I get um, if it picks up some steam. Maybe we'll try it again in the future. Who
So
knows?
if you're at zero, that means I'm not
Nobody's
on.
watching us. It's just me and you,
Nobody's
Chris.
watching. But you've got 5 thumbs up. So
Yeah. So yeah, 5 people at least joined, and we're like, yeah, that's pretty neat. Moved on.
so yeah, I just clicked on the Nauvoo. I think just learning about Nauvoo is kind of cool too. Oh, so you were talking about a hatch, right?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, why don't we see
I'll
if
I lost. I should have sent you the name because or the sorry the family search number because I totally don't even remember who it was.
oh
But
yeah,
I will look and see.
I was trying to look that up today. It's like, so my line goes through like Thomas Hatch and stuff like that. So it
Yeah, it's
was really interesting. But
Oren
he
Oren.
said it was around Connecticut.
Yeah,
So you said Warren? You okay? I think you froze.
maybe I'll just
There
search
you
for Ira. Maybe I'll just search for Ira Hatch. I don't want to search for Oren because I'll get the other Oren Hatch. I don't want that guy.
go. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of related to him too. So if we're both related to that guy, then there's got to be a connection.
Oh, there's got to be. Oh, there's Family Search is not giving me anything. If I search for
Leighton
Oren Hatch.
Jacob. So
Well,
what's interesting is my my line goes through like my dad's a Charles, my grandpa's a Charles, my great grandpa's a Charles,
mhm.
and then my great great grandpa's a William Henry Hatch. So his dad was Leighton Jacob Hatch, and then his grandpa was Jacob B. Hatch, which is the pioneer that helped build the Salt Lake Temple and came across and had a lot of wives and stuff like that. Well, wait a minute, I don't know. I don't know about that part, but yeah, I do know he helped build the temples. Um, anyway, what he see William Hen. Let me
Yeah,
think.
so Ira Hatch, yes, it is through
I,
Plymouth. So Ira Hatch, there's Ephraim Bradford and Elizabeth Brewster. Both were related with the Mayflower, right? So
okay.
they had children, and their son Waite Bradford had um, a son named Simeon, who had a son or a daughter named Weltha Bradford, and she had Ira Hatch. So
Okay.
she must have married a Hatch.
Ira Hatch. So I've got
She
a
married
Thomas Hatch.
she
This is
married an
about 1593.
no she married Ira Stearns Hatch.
Ira Stearns Hatch. That sounds familiar.
Yeah,
Ira Stearns Hatch. I wonder if that Stearns came from his mother's side.
could have. I don't know. There's no Hatches in my family tree until that point.
Interesting. Thomas Hatch,
Oh
William Ham.
no, his dad's
Thomas
name is
Hatch.
Ira Hatch, and his mom's name is Lucinda Rice. Lucinda Rice Hatch.
Hmm.
No, excuse me.
But that
Sorry.
Stearns seems familiar too.
Anyway, interesting.
Because, yeah, and then you were talking about Sprague's.
Mhm.
Michael
Yeah,
Hatch married Priscilla Sprague.
Priscilla Sprague, huh?
Yeah, and so her parents were Jeremiah Sprague and Priscilla Knight. So I was looking up and down to see if there's an Anthony Sprague and
Let me look at
Elizabeth
mine.
Bartlett, who's from the Mayflower.
So how long ago was this?
This is in the 1600s,
Oh,
1636, 1643.
yeah, I don't know.
Is that too far out? It froze again.
See, my wife watched a little bit. No one else is on right now though, so it's just us. We're just like chatting. Somebody's gonna stumble along this later and be like, "What? What did they just talk about random things?" Yeah. Yes.
I know, right?
Yes, we did.
No, you talked
Anyone
about
else
the
can
pioneers.
anyone else can call me and talk about random things too. It's fine. Um,
Fun. Just talk about like guns or whatever.
talk about talk about what?
Guns.
Oh, sure, we can talk about guns. Oh, I'm looking for Spragues. Okay, Spragues. So I'm up to the Spragues, and so Hezekiah Sprague was born in 1774. He's the father of Abigail Sprague, Ebenezer Sprague, above that, Jonathan Sprague, above that. I don't know that. I'll have to click on him to see if I can find information about him.
Jonathan Sprague. So what years was Jonathan Sprague?
Well, I don't know. British colonial America, Plymouth. I guarantee you there's a connection there, man. There's got to be. He was born in 13th of March, 1720.
1720. Okay, so I'm looking at 1711. So I'm not.
Well, you know,
King
William Sprague.
William Sprague. Okay, let me look
And did
because
William
I
have? Holy cow, he had brothers and sisters. Oh my goodness. Oh, William Sprague and Millicent Eames
that seems
lots of
familiar too.
had lots of children, lots and lots of children. Did you say
William
Samuel Sprague?
Sprague. No. Hold on. I gotta see. All right, let's go here. Jeremiah Sprague. Let's see
Oh,
who
Jeremiah.
his brothers
That's right.
are. Matthew Sprague, Richard Sprague, Isaiah Sprague, James Sprague. Of course, this is back in 1678, so I think
Right.
that's
Well, they changed the way that they do the family tree, which was really really weird. Like the first time I opened it up, I was like, "What the world?" But now you can
yeah.
click on this. You can click on descendants, and it just opens up a line for the descendants.
Anthony Sprague.
There's an Anthony in here somewhere. Hold on, hold on. I saw an Anthony. Give me a second. I keep clicking on everything.
But it looks like he's married
Yeah.
to Mary Tilden.
Oh no, the Anthony in my line is married to Elizabeth Bartlett. Oh! I just found him. Anthony Sprague married to Mary Tilden.
Mary Tilden. Okay, I found
Yeah,
him.
and his dad is Anthony Sprague, married to Elizabeth Bartlett.
Wait. Anthony Sprague, Elizabeth Bartlett.
That's right.
1636 to 1719 and 1643 to 1713.
That is correct.
And
Yes.
she's a Mayflower descendant.
Yeah, and Anthony Sprague and Elizabeth Bartlett or sorry, Anthony Sprague is the firstborn son of William Sprague and Millicent Eames Sprague. Millicent Eames.
Okay. Hold on. Let me go up one. William Sprague and Millicent Eames. Yep.
Yeah.
That's him, right?
See, we found a
Hey,
connection.
we're related. How far back does that go, though?
William
Let's see.
Sprague. I'm gonna look at this
William Sprague.
person.
Yeah, William Sprague's our connection.
Yep. Yep. William Sprague. Well, look at
Um,
that. See, you can trace it back far enough. You can find family connections.
oh, no kidding. Here we
It's a
were
long
in
way.
high school together, and I'm
That's
just
right.
kidding. 1,
You're
2,
like, hey, we're like 15th cousins. Oh yeah.
3. Well, it's just 3 down. It goes into the hatch line. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'm number 11.
Okay, let me count up mine. Oh, I should have left it open. Darn it.
Oh, yeah, you know what? I just remembered something I can do. So you go up to Anthony Sprague,
Yeah, and then
you
you
click
click on
on
the view
and
relationship.
then you view relationship. I
Use
should have
my
done that.
William Sprague. Oh, is it Anthony that we go through or William that we're going through?
Hey, Anthony.
Mine doesn't go through Anthony. So
What?
mine is William and Millicent, and then William, and then Jonathan, and then
Oh,
Jonathan,
shoot.
and then Ebenezer,
Okay,
and then
hold on.
Hezekiah.
Okay, so William Sprague. We got to go through William Sprague, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let
William
me
and
open up everything.
Millicent. They're my 10th. He's my 10th great grandfather.
They are my ninth great grandfather.
Oh, you got me beat by a generation.
Oh, so I'm older.
If that's how you want to look at it.
How's that work? You were one grade ahead of me, and now I'm older than you.
Well, there it is. There it is. There it is. All righty. Fascinating. Look at that connection.
It's really cool, Cliff.
Yep. Well, thanks for
So-
joining me on my live stream, Chris.
Yeah. Then, so after this, does it like go to just anybody can watch it or something? Or
I think so. I won't know until I hang up, until I close it. I don't even know how to do that.
oh well, I'll
There's-
let you do that. Let's see if I can figure out how to X out. So
All right. Thanks
Good
for joining
talking to
me.
you.
Thanks for joining me on
now
my
I'm more
Pioneer
related, so
my Pioneer Days celebration. It was awesome. We should do this again with a live thing.
that would be
It's
cool,
pretty neat.
and I think that would be fun to have other people. So
Yeah, there's got to be a way to do it because YouTube. There's got to be a way to do it in a different way.
Yeah, you were talking about this stuff today, and I'm like, oh man, these names sound so familiar, and it's like I've got to find out how we're related. So
Yeah, there's a connection.
There you
Just
go.
go back far enough. You're related to everybody.
all right,
All right,
Well,
Chris. Good to talk
we'll
to you,
see
man. Okay, bye.
Yep. Bye.
Goodbye, everybody that's following Helaman's Army. It was great to have you here. Hope you have a great day.